So I don't know how many times I've been told scripts don't work. The reality is that scripts probably don't work for you because you suck at them. Okay, so the reality is every professional salesperson, entrepreneur, business person is either running scripts, they may or may not even know that they're running scripts. All it is a repeatable set of words and sentences that get you to an endpoint, which should be your goal of either booking an appointment or closing a transaction. The other part of scripts are objection handlers. I've set up my scripts so I know what objections are coming, and great salespeople, and I'm just gonna reiterate this a million times, great salespeople are not telling clients what they wanna buy. They're listening to their clients what they wanna buy, and then they're finding the objections that are holding them back from buying what they wanna buy. And so a script that's properly created, that is memorized, that you can add effectiveness to it, nothing's gonna beat it. I'm gonna talk about the fundamentals of building a proper script. And then Bruce is gonna be my client today, and I'm gonna run one of my popular online lead scripts to kind of give you an idea of how it works. All right, so the first and important part of a script is introduction. I know it sounds super basic, but we have to understand most people screw up. The number one complaint by consumers across North America about realtors is lack of communication. So if you start off kind of hiding it, not saying your name, not saying the purpose of why you're calling, not saying that you're a real estate agent, etc., just to get the conversation going and mitigate a hang up right away, you're doing it wrong. First and foremost, we want to build trust and rapport. First thing is a proper introduction. In an introduction, we should also be quickly objection handling the most common objections that might be in your industry. So for example, in real estate, the number one thing that I'm going to hear is I'm not interested, or just looking, or hey, I don't have any time, like I'm super busy. So I'm gonna add that into my introduction. So my introduction would go like, hey, I'm Sean from Stonehaus Realty. The reason I'm calling is you signed up for my website, search burnabyrealestate.ca. Hey, I know you're probably super busy right now, but if you don't mind me asking, what's your real estate situation? And so that, all of a sudden, that introduction, which was maybe, I don't know, 7 seconds, 10 seconds, I told them who I am. I now allowed myself to have permission to talk to them. Why? Because they signed up for my website. So now that almost authorizes me, well, it technically does for me to call them anyways. I already handled their original objection, which is probably gonna be like, hey, I'm super busy. And if they do say I'm super busy, I know I'm gonna say, yeah, like I said, I know you're probably super swamped, but while I have you on the phone, and I'm gonna continue on. I'm going to automatically say who I am, build that trust, objection handle that I'm super busy, all in the introduction. And then that leads me to the next point, which was the question I asked at the very end. This is the most important question and where 99% of the scripts go wrong. Most people ask, if you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for? I'm not looking for anything. Or if they're gonna ask, are you looking for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom? Or are you looking to buy a home? These are very short answers and a lot of times closed answers, so yes or no. We wanna focus on broad at the beginning, right? Open-ended questions. So the most popular question I ask is, if you don't mind me asking, what's your real estate situation? And so that's a very open-ended question. Well, I already know their number one rebuttal is going to be, I'm just looking, just browsing, just starting. I know that this is what they're gonna say because they can't really say anything else. So they're gonna say, oh, I'm just browsing, just looking, or best case scenario, they're gonna go into saying that I'm looking for a house or a townhouse or condo. So let's say we get that rebuttal that, hey, I'm just looking, I'm just busy. Very, very simple. We're always going to agree. We never disagree with our clients because they are right at the end of the day. We're going to agree with them, but then we're gonna ask another question because I'm trying to build rapport now. If somebody says, oh, I'm just looking, I'm just gonna be like, hey, I completely understand. Funny enough, I've got like 30,000 people in my database that are just like you. Some are buying in a couple weeks, some are buying in a couple months, so no rush whatsoever. But when the time is right, if you don't mind me asking, what will you be looking for? A house, townhouse, or condo? So now let me ask you, when I ask these simple questions, can you say no? Can you say anything other than house, townhouse, or condo? Not really. In fact, they might be like, well, I just started so recently, I'm not quite sure if it's a house, townhouse, or condo. Then I'm gonna reiterate the question in a different way. Hey, I completely understand it. Like you said, you just started looking, I get it. In the dream situation though, what would it be? House, townhouse, or condo? And I'm gonna get that answer every single time. Now, when I get that answer, that house, townhouse, or condo, this is where we start the fact finding. Fact finding mission was focused on two different things. Number one, we always wanna find their motivation. Okay, so it's very easy to get simple answers for simple questions. So if somebody says, for example, I'm looking to buy a house, I'd be like, oh, perfect. Tell me a little bit about this house. What does this dream home look like to you? Very general, open question. A lot of answers I'm gonna get is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath with a basement suite in Maple Ridge, that's for example. Okay, that's great. Unfortunately, your number one competition is not the other agents. Your number one competition is Zillow, Realtor.ca, Realtor.com, whatever, all these websites which will give them the exact information that you're now about to regurgitate to them. So if they say, hey, I'm looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath in Maple Ridge, well, guess what? I can put that into Realtor.com and I can find all that information. So I need to differentiate myself and show value to use me as an agent versus just giving them the exact same information that they can get on a website that they have zero commitment to, that they're never gonna have to work with if they don't want to, et cetera, et cetera. This is the time where you ask the questions that build the rapport that will allow you to differentiate yourself from just a regular Realtor.com website. That makes sense. Instead of, if they say to me 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Maple Ridge with a backyard, I'm now gonna reiterate it. Awesome. 4-bed, 3-bath, gotcha. 4 beds. If you don't mind me asking, do you have a family? Do you have kids? Yes, Sean, I have kids, I have family. Perfect. Is a school attachment or a catchment important to them? How close to grocery walking buses are as important? Tell me about the bedrooms and layouts that would be interesting. I want the information that is going to A, show that I genuinely care what my clients are buying, and B, also separate me from my competition, the websites. So I'm gonna go into this fact-finding mission. One of the things that most agents do wrong when on the phone is they try to close a deal, okay? In real estate, in some industries, sure. You can close online, you can close on the phone, you can close on a Zoom call, etc., for sure. In real estate, your goal every single time should be to book an appointment. That is the close. If we focus too much on, I'm going to get a deal off this, I'm thinking about commissions, I'm thinking about all these, whatever it may be, like send me all the information, I want to get my head out of that because I'm never going to be their agent until I work with them. So my goal for this conversation every single time is to book an appointment. So I just want to make sure that that's very clear and out there. So what happens after we have all this information? Well, we have to do what I just said we got to do. We got to book an appointment. And this is something that becomes very challenging. The fact finding can be quick and easy and you can learn how to do that well. But the last part of closing or booking an appointment can be much more challenging. So how do we do that? First of all, we now have all this motivation. And I need to make sure that we really clarify and understand how the buying process works. Okay, so everybody buys. Doesn't matter if you think they're the most analytical person on the planet. Everybody buys with emotion and they use logic to back that decision. You're like, no, Sean, I know some people that are all numbers. Listen, even my biggest investors that have $100 million portfolios, they are all buying with emotion based on logic. And I'll use an example for you here. One of my good clients, I asked him, he's like, okay, I need to buy $26 million portfolio. This is the cap rate and return I need on it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. First question I ask him is like, yeah, I'm gonna work my butt off to find everything that meets it, but I always wanna know something important about my clients. What are you gonna do with this money? Where is this money? Why are we building this portfolio? And I know you might think that sounds pretty intrusive, but the reality is I need to know because I need to know his motivation. I need to know why, what is the purpose for this, right? Because some properties, some projects, some whatever may not fit that end goal motivation. But at the same time, I can tell you this. So one of my clients, an investor who's all numbers, it's a lot different painting a picture and closing your client on something you know is the right product for them from everything that they told you when you have motivation behind it. So I know he's putting his sons through some of the Ivy League universities. He wants to retire on a yacht somewhere in Saint-Tropez and all these big dreams. So now when I go and say, hey man, we're gonna buy this $10 million place, it's a 10% cap, we're gonna be able to flip it in the next year because this is the projected uptick in that area, et cetera, we buy this place, we're that much closer, 2 steps away from getting you into that yacht in Saint-Tropez. Much more powerful than just showing him numbers, right? Because now he's putting a visual cue to this purchase. There is now emotion based on this logic, right? The logic is there. The logic is sound. I'm not saying you're just gonna sell something without logic. That's not the case. The logic is 100% sound, but now he's attaching it to the emotion, to the end goal, the reason why we do any of these. So this is important. When we're in these scripts, we're going to be getting as much emotion, motivation, so that we can then book the appointment so we can show them the logic. One of the most common rebuttals or questions, can you just send me the listings? Can you just send me the information? Every single time I'm going to say the exact same thing. 100% I can. Later this afternoon or tomorrow when I'm done my calls or done speaking with my clients, I'm going to send you all the information we spoke about. But while I have you on the phone, I'd really like to know more about what is important to you about this. Simple objection handler. Every single time. We're not going to be like, well, no, I can't send you the information unless you say you're going to work with me. No. Yes, what you want, I will deliver, but I want to know more information so I can make sure I send you the best possible information. So now I'm going to circle back a little bit. We've fact found. We are now about to close, okay? So there's multiple different types of closes that we can, but usually what we're going to do is we're going to reiterate what our clients told us, right? So, okay, so just to be clear, you're looking for a 4-bedroom, in Maple Ridge, 3-bathroom, beautiful backyard, because we need a place for your black lab. We need to be close to the French immersion school for your kids because they're already going to be going down that route. We need to make sure that there's a park, something close by because you guys are big into recreation and activity. We need to make sure this. Is that sound correct? Now we're going into yes or no answers. Yes, Sean, that sounds awesome. Perfect. What I'd like to do is I'd like to put a bunch of this information together for you, right? And I'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and go over these. The reason for that is I want to be able to pick and choose what makes best sense for you. So when we do go look at properties, I don't waste your time. Does that make sense? Yes, Sean. Okay, that's one aspect of a close. Another close I use all the time, I ask questions that I know the answer to. So for example, if I call, I'm like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, so I know this home that we went over, this sounds perfect, same as what I just said, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, blah, 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 right? But while I have you on the phone, because I know you're not in any rush whatsoever, has anybody had the opportunity to go over a contract to purchase and sale, show you what an appraisal looks like, show you what the banking and financial requirements are, show you what an inspection looks like, show you a due diligence period and what entails in that, et cetera, et cetera? Has anybody had a chance to sit down and go over that with you? And every single time they're gonna be like, no. Or they're gonna be like, yeah, well, I bought a place 4 years ago. Oh, fantastic. Personally, as a real estate agent that does hundreds of transactions, I have a hard time keeping up with all the paperwork because they switch up every 6 months. So I completely understand where you're going for. Would you like to see the new things that may affect you? So I am creating value for them wanting to meet with me. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, Sean, like I said, I've just started. Hey, I get it. But I'm guessing you're probably a lot like my other clients out there that even though they're not really in the rush, if a perfect place hit the market way under market value, they would want to be able to take care of or take advantage of that opportunity. I'm guessing you're similar to that, right? Who wouldn't be? Of course I want to take advantage of an opportunity of a house below market value. That's, of course. But for us to be able to take advantage of that opportunity, we need to be prepared. So we need to sit down and chat. Now, this is another common objection that we use to close, and it happens all the time, is obviously you're only going to be talking to one person on the phone. What about their significant other? They have a say, don't they? Of course they do. So what I do is, and this works all the time, I call it the pencil and close. This works 9 out of 10 times, maybe even more. And if it doesn't, I want to hear in the comments if it doesn't, okay? So this is what I use. While I'm closing, I'll be like, hey, I know you guys aren't in any rush whatsoever, right? But why don't we do this? Generally speaking, 99% of the time, when are you and your wife or when are you and your husband available or free? I ask that question first because I want to know the time period that they're usually available, 99% of the time. So they'll be like, oh, Sean, usually Saturday afternoons I'm free. Why don't we do this? Why don't we pencil in Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock? And I know you probably still have to talk to your wife or your husband or whoever, right? To see if it makes sense for them. And I completely understand that. The only reason I want to pencil this time in is because my admin has a nasty habit of booking me up solid, and I want to make sure that I reserve my time for you. Now, if something happens, you end up being a random soccer game that your kids are in, or doesn't make sense for your wife to meet now, no problem. Give me a call or text, and we'll reschedule the appointment. Does that work? Perfect. What was the address again? And I go straight from there. It's the pencil and close. The reason why we do this is, if they say, hey, Sean, I'm going to get back to you to book the appointment, the likelihood of them getting back to you is less than 3%. They're not getting back to you. However, now we can use that same type of mentality. The likelihood of them canceling an appointment that's already booked at their house is much less likely than if there was no appointment at all. Well, obviously, but vice versa, right? So now they have to call or text to cancel versus have to call or text to book. Incredibly powerful, okay? So these are some of the fundamentals. I'm gonna run a quick example of a script with Brucey or behind the camera here. So it give you an overall flow of it, right? But if these are something that you're interested in learning more about, I have script for developers, door knocking, all of these things are incredibly important. Where confidence in real estate comes from is knowing the objection handlers, is knowing where to lead the conversation, right? It's knowing your product, market info, etc. But it's more or less leading that conversation that will get you to where you need to be and build that confidence to close your next deal. All right, Bruce, you're my client. I'm calling you, okay? Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Bruce?
Yeah, this is Bruce.
Hey Bruce, it's Sean from Stonehaus Realty. Hey, I know you're probably super busy right now, so I'm gonna keep this quick. You actually signed up for my website, searchburnabyrealestate.ca. I'm just curious what your real estate situation is.
Yeah, I'm just in a home right now. I'm just in a one-bed condo at the moment, and just nothing too crazy.
Are you renting or do you own?
I'm just renting at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. And so what are you looking to do?
Right now I'm pretty happy with it, with my situation at the moment, but maybe in the near future, going to try and save up a bit.
Hey, fair enough. So you've just been kind of browsing and looking right now?
A little bit. Like I check here and there, but nothing really too serious at the moment.
Fair enough. And like I said, there's no rush whatsoever. Funny enough, I got, I think, like 35,000 people in my database, just like you. Some people buy in a couple weeks, some people buy in like 5 years. So there's no rush whatsoever. But when the time is right, what will you be looking for? A house, townhouse, condo?
I think eventually look towards townhouse. I think that would make most sense for me.
Awesome. And why does that make the most sense for you?
A little bit less maintenance than a detached house, and just would ideally would like to do that when I'm like married and in a relationship at that point.
Fair enough. So you're looking for something with more rooms, a little bit more space. Does a garage, is that important to you?
I'd say a garage would be important for me, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And what neighborhood is important to you?
I'm looking at more or less in the Tri-Cities eventually. Yeah, maybe towards Coquitlam or something like that. Coquitlam, Port Moody.
And why Coquitlam or Port Moody?
Just closer for work, and I like the area.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. And what do you do for work, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I'm a videographer.
Videographer. Funny enough, I know a few of you guys.
Oh, it's crazy, right? Too many of us.
Awesome. So now I'm going to skip this part, but I would basically be diving into more questions. What's important about the location? And you can see the questions I'm asking are there are no yes or no answers to these. These have all been like, what's important about Tri-Cities to you? What's important about a home to you? Do you need a garage? So that might be yes or no, but majority of it is going to be directly based on his needs. I'm trying to find his motivation. Now I'm going to kind of go into the close, right? I'm going to make some stuff up, but you'll get the idea. All right, Bruce, I know when I first called you, I know you were super busy, so I'll wrap this up. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I really appreciate chatting. But while I have you on the phone, just curious, has anybody had the opportunity to talk about contract to purchase and sale? You're looking at townhouse, so like the strata complexes, bylaws. Obviously, you're going to be a first-time home buyer that we talked about, so what it's like in the approval process of getting funding, down payment, all that kind of stuff. Has anybody had a chance to ever talk to you about those in person?
Nothing really. No one's really approached me with any of the stuff like that. So it's all new to me at this point.
Fair enough. And I know you said you're not quite ready yet, and I completely understand that. But if you don't mind me asking, a lot of my clients, they're probably thinking 6 months to 2 years, but I've had a lot of them actually hop in earlier because a really smoking deal and like the perfect property came up. So they were able to take advantage of that because obviously they were prepared. Is that something you'd like to learn more about?
Yeah, definitely. I think the time's going to come pretty soon, and I got to be ready for if there's a good deal, I can't pass that up at that point.
Fair enough. Okay, so that was an agreeable one. If he said, for example,
I'm not quite sure yet. I'm pretty happy with where I am right now, and I'm just looking to save up, and they're trying to time the market. As many people try and say, there's so many things out there that get me swaying in between different options.
And I just want to make it very clear, I'm not looking to sell or buy something with you right this second. For me, it's just important that you understand the process. So if that opportunity does come up, I just don't want you to miss the boat. And is that something that you can see the value in?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm basically repeating the question talking about value and showing them that there's no necessarily commitment at this particular time. So now I would move into the close, the actual close portion. So now he sees a reason. So I know you said you're not married to a Mrs. yet, but I hear that you're a super busy videographer, especially following around this asshole Sean all the time. If you don't mind me asking, 99% of the time, what day and time of the week are you usually available?
Mostly in the weekdays, in the evenings, right around like maybe 5, anytime between like 5 and 7 are usually my free times.
Okay, so 5 and 7 during the weekdays. Is there a day that usually like you try not to book any work?
I'd say, yeah, like Thursdays, Wednesday, Thursdays are usually pretty good for me.
Perfect. Let's do this then. Let's pencil in Thursday at 5:30 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. I'll come swing by your place. I'll make sure, and the only reason I want to pencil in, my friend, is because my admin, Myra, has this nasty habit of booking me absolutely solid. So I just want to make sure that I put that time aside for you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Perfect. What was your address again?
You know the place.
So this gives you an example. I have, I'm gonna see if Bruce can pick up some archives of me actually calling online leads so you guys can see me booking. And I have called 2,000-day-old leads, booked appointments, and sold this home with these exact scripts. So anyways, if you're looking for more information, please like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Reach out to me. We are launching High Point. We haven't actually advertised it. I personally only have 20 spots total. I have 15 left. 5 people have already committed to the course. So I will be booked up once I hit those 20 total, probably within the next 30 days. But if you're looking to bring your business to the next level, if you're looking for these scripts and to show maybe your agents on your team or everybody else how to run these properly, I'd love to be able to help you out. If not, keep watching, like, subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.